The morning sun shimmered across Mirror Lake, casting a golden glow over the manicured lawns of Willow Creek Estates, a gated community where wealth dripped from every perfectly trimmed hedge. I stood on the deck of our family's lake cabin, sipping coffee, when a voice sharper than a razor cut through the tranquility. "Get off my lake, or I'll have you arrested for trespassing." Evelyn Harper, the self-proclaimed queen of the Homeowners Association, stormed down the shoreline in her pristine yoga outfit, brandishing her smartphone like a loaded gun. Her target? My 22-year-old niece, Lena Carter, who sat unbothered in a rowboat adorned with a breathtaking array of lilies, jasmine, and rare tropical blooms, a floating masterpiece worth thousands. Lena adjusted an oar, her expression calm as glass, while Evelyn's face reddened with every step. In just 23 minutes, Evelyn would learn exactly who she was yelling at, and her world would unravel like a cheap sweater. I'd come up from Memphis to spend the weekend with Lena, who'd been staying at our cabin for a month, supposedly working on her master's thesis in environmental law. But as I watched her row in lazy circles, surrounded by flowers that looked like they belonged in a royal wedding, I sensed she was up to something far bigger than a research paper. Evelyn, oblivious, reached the water's edge, her voice climbing to a pitch that could shatter crystal. "I'm Evelyn Harper, president of Willow Creek HOA, and this lake is private property. You can't just float some overpriced flower shop out here without my approval." Lena, in thrift store jeans and scuffed boots, looked like she'd wandered off a hiking trail, yet her boat screamed money and intent. "Ms. Harper," she called, her voice smooth as the lake's surface, "I think there's a misunderstanding about lake access permits." Her words carried a quiet authority that made Evelyn's manicured nails twitch. The contrast was almost comical. Evelyn in her designer gear, flashing a diamond ring that could fund a small charity, versus Lena, serene in her floral throne, unbothered by the threats. Neighbors began to gather, phones out, sensing a showdown worth recording. Evelyn, thriving on the attention, dialed 911 with theatrical flair. "Emergency. This is Evelyn Harper at 1423 Lakeside Drive. I need deputies now for a trespasser operating an unauthorized watercraft, some college dropout with a floating garden that's probably stolen." Lena's lips curled into a smile, not of fear but of delight, as she pulled out her own phone, scrolling through contacts with the ease of someone who knew exactly who to call. 12 minutes later, gravel crunched under tires as Deputy Martinez pulled up, followed by an unmarked sedan that didn't scream small-town sheriff. Evelyn straightened, ready to play the victim, but Lena guided her boat to the dock with surgical precision, arranging a lily as if prepping for a photo shoot, not an arrest. Deputy Martinez, a veteran of too many HOA squabbles, eyed the boat with admiration. "That's some professional work, miss." Evelyn's face turned a shade of crimson that clashed with her spray tan. But the real shock came when a woman in a tailored suit stepped from the sedan, carrying a briefcase that radiated authority. Ignoring Evelyn, she walked straight to Lena. "Deputy, I'm Cassandra Reed, representing the Carver Environmental Trust. Ms. Carter has every right to be here, and I have the paperwork to prove it." Evelyn's jaw tightened. "Paperwork? I've run this community for 8 years. No one's authorized anything without my signature." She waved her phone like a scepter, but Cassandra handed the deputy a folder that made his eyebrows climb. "According to these records," he said, voice cautious, "your HOA presidency ended 6 months ago when the Carver Trust acquired Willow Creek. Any actions you've taken since may be unauthorized." The crowd gasped, phones capturing every second. Evelyn's confidence cracked, but she doubled down, shrieking about stolen flowers and vagrants. Lena, still smiling, pulled out a tablet and began scrolling through documents with the calm of a chess grandmaster. That evening, the Willow Creek Community Center was packed, the air thick with whispers of the morning's drama. Evelyn marched in, clad in a power suit that screamed corporate warfare, her briefcase stuffed with documents she believed would crush Lena. Lena sat in the front row, still in her thrift store clothes, flanked by Cassandra and 2 men in suits that screamed federal agent. Evelyn took the podium, voice dripping with authority. "Thank you for coming to witness the resolution of today's trespassing incident. These imposters claim ownership of our community, but I have 8 years of deeds, bylaws, and contracts proving I'm the legitimate authority." She spread her papers like a poker player revealing a royal flush. Cassandra stood, her presence chilling the room. "Ms. Harper, those documents may be evidence in a federal environmental crimes investigation." She held up a warrant, and the crowd fell silent. The EPA has monitored Willow Creek for 9 months after reports of chemical runoff into Mirror Lake. Evelyn's voice cracked. Environmental crimes? Impossible. Our lake is pristine. Cassandra's smile was predatory. EPA tests show contamination from banned pesticides you authorized, violating federal clean water laws. Penalties include up to 10 years in prison and $2 million in fines. Evelyn gripped the podium, her face cycling through shock, fear, and panic. Lena rose, her voice commanding the room. I'm Lena Carter, environmental law specialist with the Carver Trust. 6 months ago, we acquired Willow Creek to investigate systemic environmental damage. She projected images of the lake cloudy water, dead fish, and chemical charts marked in red. The previous management MS. Harper used industrial pesticides banned in residential areas, poisoning your water, your children's swimming area, and the ecosystem. Evelyn stammered, I was protecting property values. The landscaping company said those chemicals were safe. Cassandra held up another document. You were warned 18 months ago by 3 consultants but ignored them to avoid costly remediation. The room erupted as residents connected health issues, coughs, rashes, respiratory problems to Evelyn's actions. Mrs. Lee, trembling, shouted, My daughter's been sick for years. Was this your doing? Cassandra raised a hand. That's not all. MS. Harper, explain where the $400,000 in federal environmental grants went. Evelyn paled. We had no such fund. Lena projected bank records, highlighting transactions, luxury car payments, spa trips, a kitchen remodel. These grants were awarded based on your claims of sustainable practices, while you poisoned the lake and pocketed the money. Evelyn's excuses, administrative costs, community standards sounded hollow against the evidence. The final blow came when Cassandra revealed Lena's true role. MS. Carter is an undercover FBI agent investigating Operation Clearstream, a multi-state environmental crime ring. Lena's flower boat, it turned out, was a surveillance hub, its blooms hiding cameras and water testing devices. Recordings captured Evelyn bribing inspectors, threatening families, and laughing about a few sick kids as collateral for her profits. Cassandra read from a warrant. Evelyn Harper, you face 47 felony counts, including wire fraud and environmental crimes. The FBI will issue arrest warrants within 24 hours. The next morning, federal SUVs and EPA vans swarmed Willow Creek. Evelyn's mansion, once a symbol of her reign, was taped off as agents carted out evidence. Lena emerged from our cabin in an FBI windbreaker, directing operations with a radio. Uncle David, she said, grinning at my shock. My thesis was cover for a joint FBI PA sting. Sorry for the secrecy. She showed me an organizational chart linking Evelyn to a network of corrupt HOA leaders and landscaping firms across 12 states, defrauding $50 million in grants while contaminating water supplies. The flower boat had recorded Evelyn's calls, exposing her cover-up of health impacts and payoffs to silence complaining families. 6 months later, Mirror Lake sparkled, its water clear enough to see fish darting below. Native plants lined the shore, and residents' health issues vanished. Evelyn, sentenced to 32 years without parole, watched from prison as her mansion became the Evelyn Harper Environmental Crimes Prevention Center, funded by her seized assets. The Carver Trust, led by Lena, received a $15 million EPA grant to establish a permanent investigation hub at the lake. Lena revealed our family's century-long legacy as guardians of Mirror Lake, begun by our great-grandfather's Federal Conservation Trust. Evelyn's crimes had violated this trust, adding decades to her sentence. The flowers on Lena's boat, grown in our family's greenhouse with pre-contaminated lake water, were proof of the paradise she'd nearly destroyed. As Willow Creek thrived, a model for environmental justice, I realized the real victory wasn't just stopping Evelyn, it was restoring a legacy that would protect the lake for generations.